Hey, how's it going, everyone? Maniac Mansfield, TJ Talley. We're coming at you here with our WWE 2021 Royal Rumble review. The first WWE pay-per-view of 2021 is in the books, and like usual, it was one of the best. I don't think there's any better way to kick off a WWE year than with the Royal Rumble, because it gets everyone who was sick of everything that happened last year excited for what's going to happen. Uh, like, it's talking about WrestleMania being the big Super Bowl, but the show that gets everyone excited is the Royal Rumble. And after this Rumble, holy crap, I am pumped for WrestleMania. Tyler, how you feeling, bud?
Man, I am feeling good. Last night, I was a little skeptical that they were going to pull some, WWE stuff, and maybe we were going to get some good winners. I mean, let's be honest, they messed it up with Charlotte last year. Not that she's not good or needed to be in a title picture. If you wanted to put her in a title match, just put her in a dang title match. I mean, you usually do. Save that spot for someone that I felt deserved it. But they actually had good winners. We actually got I would say mainly everything correct, if not everything correct. But yeah, I thought it was a solid start to the year. We got some stuff going on, some stuff that kind of makes me excited of what might happen for WrestleMania with Edge and Bianca Belair. What if maybe Edge goes after the SmackDown title and wants to fight Roman? Maybe.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I didn't want to spoil that right away. I didn't want to spoil the winners for those who haven't really watched, but
well, my bad. Well, now you kind of know at least the men's. I ain't gonna get into the women's then, but now I'm excited because there's some possibilities for WrestleMania. But first, we have to get through the Elimination Chamber, and we got to get through Fastlane before we get to WrestleMania. So that's why they call it the Row. A nice little drive.
Elimination Chamber is always a fun pay-per-view. People have downplayed Fastlane in the past, but the Fastlane that we went to a couple years ago in Cleveland was pretty darn good.
Dude, I thought you were about to fall down off the dang stands because every 5 seconds I just see you pop up out of your seat.
Oh, this is news to no one.
Good times.
Okay, so first match we got kickoff show. You have the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Charlotte Flair and Raw Women's Champion Asuka defending their titles against former champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I'm pretty sure this is one of the only times we've seen Asuka and Charlotte together since they won the titles. Some other people pointed out that after Asuka went out first, Charlotte had the "oh, I'm turning heel" look on her face, and everyone's like, "oh," but she didn't. And match was a decent match, decent women's tag title match for the competitors involved. I mean, you have Asuka, who's one of the best, Charlotte's one of the best. Can't really count out Shayna. Nia Jax. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. Let's be honest. No. So the match ended with a screwy finish. Ric Flair came out to distract Charlotte. Lacey Evans came out while Charlotte had, I believe it was Nia, or was it Nia or Shayna? She had him a figure eight. It was Nia. She had him a figure eight.
Yeah.
Lacey Evans broke it up, and then afterwards, Lacey hit Charlotte with the women's right with brass knuckles, thanks to Ric Flair, and Nia Jax hit the leg drop on the back of Charlotte to pin Charlotte. So Shayna and Nia are once again women's tag team champions. I seriously thought that would not have gone that way. I thought, how are you going to beat Charlotte and Asuka? Apparently, a Ric Flair and Lacey Evans run-in is how you do it. So Shayna and Nia are the new champions. Not really thrilled about that. Not really thrilled about the screwy finish. Charlotte being pinned, I thought protected Asuka, and I think that sets up more with Lacey Evans and Charlotte. I think they'll finish their feud before WrestleMania. I don't see that going in to Mania as Charlotte's match. But now Shayna and Nia are the champs. Who's gonna face them next? I think we gotta find out next. Personally, I don't see Charlotte and Asuka going for the titles again. I see Charlotte handling Lacey Evans, and then Nia and Shayna going after Charlotte, and potentially Becky Lynch returning. And then that sets up Shayna and Nia versus Charlotte and Becky at WrestleMania for the tag titles. Give Charlotte and Becky something to do while elevating other talent that deserve, a boost. And giving Becky a run with the tag titles. Because with the four horsewomen, each of them have had sort of a team rivalry as well. You've had Sasha and Bayley on one hand, Becky and Charlotte on the other. Sasha and Bayley have had the tag titles. I want to see Charlotte and Becky have the tag titles. What do you got?
I'm just going to say that I was right and you were wrong on this match.
Shot.
I figured because of Lacey Evans, like there had to be something that goes on, obviously.
Unfortunately.
So I don't mind the screwy finish, but yeah, you're right. We gotta see what's next for them now that they're the champs again. I mean, pretty much you got the Riot Squad, or you have. Well, really, I don't know who you have after that.
There's no viable. The most viable team to dethrone and keep down Shayna and Nia was Asuka and Charlotte. The only way you beat them now is with Asuka going on to defend her title against someone. We'll get to that later. Who I think it might be. The only other viable option for someone who can take down Shayna and Nia Jax is Becky. Why did I say Bayley? Becky. Is Becky Lynch. So we'll see how that plays out. Then we'll see how that goes out tonight on Raw. So they announced. So that was the kickoff match. The first match of the main card was the WWE title match, which I think was the match every single wrestling fan was the most nervous about the entire card. Hands down. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
And with this match going on first, I think we all felt a little safer at least, with this match going on first and not later in the card. Started off before the bell even rung with McIntyre going after Goldberg, knocking him down. Didn't really work because then Goldberg speared McIntyre through the barricade on the outside. Get back in. Drew hits the Claymore. Goldberg kicks out. Then two spears and a jackhammer that was more closely resembled to a suplex. Let's be honest. McIntyre kicked out. Goldberg tries again, misses, and then another Claymore. And 1, 2, 3. McIntyre retains, and we all did a big sigh of relief. Because no one wanted to see Goldberg win the title from Drew McIntyre. So McIntyre won. The match was 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I think, officially, because they don't, of course, count the stuff that happened pre-bell. So McIntyre won. Probably that, I think, eliminates Goldberg, any chance of seeing him at WrestleMania. I am not complaining about that in any way, shape, or form. They did a show of respect after, so Goldberg sort of giving Drew the rub. So the right man won in this match, hands down. Goldberg did not need to win. Thankfully, he didn't. And so McIntyre goes into Raw tonight and probably into WrestleMania as the WWE champion, unless something screwy happens at Elimination Chamber. But we'll get to that later. Any thoughts on this match?
Yeah, like you said, the right guy won. I mean, if Goldberg or Oldberg in this case would have won. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been like what they did with the Fiend, and I'm still pissed about that. But we can't sit here and dwell on that anymore, even though that kind of killed him. But Bray's a genius, so he saved his character. But no, it was just a quick match. I really did think Goldberg was going to win after that botched jackhammer like he did with the Fiend. But yeah, Drew won. And as far as I know, he's going to WrestleMania with the title. I haven't heard anything about him dropping it or a cash in, but it could be a surprise. It could be a last minute thing. But as far as I know,
I don't think it'll be a cash in. If any, we'll get to what I think might happen when we talk about the Men's Rumble. But next up, we had the SmackDown Women's Title match. Sasha Banks defending against Carmella.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there was to say. It was a back and forth. I thought Carmella, like I said, did look more sharp in the ring than she has previously. But it was kind of a given that Sasha Banks was going to win. Now, I ain't going to lie. For a second, I thought Carmella might win when she had her finisher in. I was like, oh, she about to tap. And then,
she did look like she was about to tap. That was really close.
Yeah, Banks did her thing and retained the title. I thought it was a good back and forth match. I obviously I don't think it was the best match on the card, but we'll get into that stuff later. But for one of the matches on one of the big four pay-per-views, I thought it was a pretty good match. Obviously, we'll get into where Sasha's going to go from here with the Women's Royal Rumble winner once we get there. But for right now, I thought it was just a solid match for the card. Better than that pre-show match, I can tell you that much.
You just don't like Charlotte.
Not that I don't like Charlotte. It's just that the fact that she just gets plugged into everything like Roman Reigns.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Next up, you had the performance by Bad Bunny performing a song Booker T with Booker T there. It was a bathroom break segment, really.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it was.
Yeah. So, but after that,
understood was when Booker T said, "Can you dig that, sucker?" That is the only words I understood.
Same.
Not that it was a bad song. That's the only thing I understood.
Yeah. So, after that, we get into the Women's Royal Rumble, and oh daddy, this match was good. I've seen some people saying, oh, it was crap, like some of the things that he did were dumb. I thought it was really good. Like, you don't need multiple spot fests, but the spots that were there I thought were good. There were a couple botches in the beginning, but other than that, I thought it was a very good Royal Rumble match for the ladies. I think this one may have been. A lot of people were saying this one was their best.
I mean, what, they've been doing this for 3-4 years now?
2018 was their first.
Okay, so 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this is 4, right? We're at 4. Okay. Yeah, out of the 4, I think this is probably one of the better ones. Maybe. I thought the first one got overshadowed a little bit by Rousey, even though Asuka won, and that was like her big moment on the main roster. So it's up to that point.
I've seen other people saying, I sort of have to agree with this, that with the men being put on a couple matches before the Women's Rumble, that the men were kind of like, ladies, we're going to show you how it's done. And they sort of overperformed for the Royal Rumble where Nakamura won. Which,
to an extent, yeah, I can maybe see that, but I just think Asuka should have just celebrated, had the two champions out, make her go, look at the title and end the show. But then you had Rousey, and yeah, she's a big star. I think she overshadowed it, maybe just a little bit. But yeah, I think last night was probably one of the better Rumbles for the women. Yeah. You had some surprises. It was good to see Victoria back.
That was probably the biggest one, but let's start out from the beginning of this match. First two entrants, Bayley was the first entrant, which was like, whoa, we're starting with Bayley already? Okay. And then you have a first big return of the night being Naomi, which that got a big pop from me. Bayley and Naomi have always had great work. And then number 3, which worried the both of us, honestly, was seeing this person come out number 3. Number 3 was Bianca Belair. And we're like, Bayley and Bianca already? Especially we're like, Bianca already. That's where I was like, okay. But, so she came in, after that, Billie Kay came out. She did a whole shtick where she was trying to get whoever would come out to team up with her, usually getting knocked down. She got hit with the ball from the tank from Shotzi Blackheart, which I was so sad that she got eliminated first. Shotzi Blackheart did not deserve to get eliminated first. I was sad. That made me sad. But then we had a lot of other things pick up.
Yeah, after Shotzi, and Naomi was the first big comeback, it was like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I was a little skeptical at first about Belair winning when she was 3. I was like, oh, okay, we're getting this right now. But I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And then, you had people like Tori Wilson and Victoria, and I'm sure I'm out of order here with what numbers they came out. But you had like Victoria, Tori Wilson, you had
Jillian Hall.
That
was like, holy crap.
So it was good to see some of these people back, and then you had NXT superstars like Dakota Kai and Shotzi, and
the little Iconics reunion a little bit.
You had a little Iconics reunion. So
they got Jillian to team up with her, and they teamed up a bit, and Billy just kept trying to form alliances, and then that went out the window. So that was funny. So then, you had Tony Storm come out. Shayna Baszler was in there. She was wrecking house a little bit. Charlotte came out, and then after Charlotte came out, Lacey Evans, few entrances after, she came out in the same robe Charlotte did, and Charlotte went right after Lacey. You had Alicia Fox come out, which was a big shock. Seeing her return, and this is where either you love the match or this completely ruined the match for you with Alicia Fox. And because after Alicia Fox came out, you want to do it?
Oh man, that was funny. I didn't think
personally.
I didn't think
they didn't like it. I thought it was hilarious.
The thing was, you had Alicia Fox and she came down to the ring, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's back. And then you hear R-Truth music, and you're kind of thinking, okay, what's going on here? And then he gets into the ring, and then he gets pinned. She gets eliminated, and then he pins her, and I was like, oh, okay, well, he got the title.
He comes out, and Alicia's like, Truth, wrong Rumble.
Yeah.
My bad. Turns around, and all the 24/7 title Job Squad is there after Truth. Truth runs into the ring, Alicia rolls him up, pins him for the 24/7 title. She gets eliminated, and then after that, Truth pins her to win the title, and then they all run off. I wish they would have saved that for Carmella. I wish Carmella would have been there for Truth. I like what they did with Carmella. When she came out, and she was gonna get eliminated, but Reginald, her little valet, whatever, caught her, put her back up. She got in. She got tossed out again. Reginald caught her. Then Tamina came out and just super kicked Reginald, and so he dropped Carmella. So that was entertaining. Then after a couple entrants later, Alexa Bliss came out, which this is when I'm pretty sure we both like perked up like, okay, what's gonna happen? She gets in the ring. Everyone immediately goes for Alexa. They do not want her to transform into, Fiend Alexa or whatever. So she started to, but then I believe it was Rhea Ripley was like, nope, and tossed out Alexa. Rhea Ripley ran wild in this match. She looked fantastic.
Yeah, I was mad about Alexa Bliss. I was just like, man, the lights were starting to go out, and you were like, oh yeah, she's about to transform. What's gonna happen? And then she gets thrown out, and I was like, wow, okay, WWE, way to tease us like that, okay?
Everyone, I think from the Raw side had Alexa Bliss penciled in to win. With how quick she got eliminated, I will say I do not think Alexa Bliss is going to challenge for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania anymore. I'll get to that in a little bit. But so we had a few more entrants. Natalya came out last. And I think this was, I don't know if this was before or after Nia and Shayna got eliminated, but then they started wrecking everyone up, and so by the time they left, everyone was just, down, and the final four, I believe, were Charlotte. I want to say it was Charlotte, Natalya, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Correct?
Yeah, I think so.
So Natalya's out. Final three: Charlotte, Belair, Ripley. Charlotte is out next, which got a big pop from everyone, I think. So then you have the other two being Rhea Ripley from NXT or Bianca Belair from SmackDown. I was okay with whoever between those two winning. Ripley would have been, a good redemption story from last year with Charlotte winning and then being Ripley for the NXT Women's title at WrestleMania. Belair, it was good just building her up. I think both women deserve this. At the end, Bianca Belair won the match. She hasn't decided which title yet, but most likely it's going to be the SmackDown Women's title with Bayley. I honestly think with Rhea Ripley finishing second and not Alexa Bliss, I will say I think Rhea Ripley will be the one to get called up and challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. I think Rhea proved herself in that Rumble, and I think now she probably is on the main roster. I would say this is her main roster debut.
Yeah, you would be correct on that. She has been on the main roster for a few weeks, but they decided to hold her back and have her debut last night. I don't know which brand she's going to be on. All I know is that she's on the main roster. So you could see her tonight. You might see her Friday night. I have no clue. I haven't heard anything else on where she's going to be. All I know is right now she's on the main roster. They could... Bianca could go after Asuka. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think they're building towards Sasha and Bianca Belair. So that means Asuka needs a challenger. Or maybe if they want to go this route, maybe Twisted Sister Alexa Bliss, Fiendish Alexa Bliss, gets the title between now and WrestleMania, which I could see happening, maybe, depending on what they want to do with the Fiend. It's one of those things where we don't know. Honestly, they haven't really done anything with Asuka as champion. Yeah, they gave her a long reign like we all wanted, but they haven't done anything with her as champion, really. The first time she defended the title, and probably, I think it was like a month or two, was last week when she faced Alexa Bliss. So I don't know. There's a lot of interesting dynamics. I do think it'll be Banks versus Belair at WrestleMania. I don't know which night, obviously, yet. We'll figure that out when that time comes. But I think that's the way it goes. Now we need to find out who's ready for Asuka. So maybe we get answers tonight. Maybe we don't. Maybe we wait until after the Fastlane pay-per-view when they have like 2 or 3 weeks to build up WrestleMania, because that is March 21st is Fastlane, or I think it's 21st is Fastlane. But yeah, so you got literally like 3 weeks to build that up. So what do? Do you have a Royal Rumble, or not a Royal Rumble, but like a Battle Royal type deal? Do you have a gauntlet match? What do you do? When do you do it? Obviously, Asuka probably
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, you could. Obviously, Asuka needs one for the match for the Chamber if they decide to give her one, and one for Fastlane. But in between that, it's like, okay, who does she face? Do they have a women's Chamber match this year like they had, I think, last year and the year before? Do you put her in there? Do you put Sasha in there and have the SmackDown Women's title, or do you have the Raw Women's title in there? That's something they got to figure out. Realistically, if I had to pick someone to face Asuka at WrestleMania, it would either be Bliss or Rhea, because I think those two right now are probably the most ready for that. I would say Charlotte, but I don't know what's going to happen. They could stick her in there. It'll piss everybody off, but it could be one of those things that just happens. I don't know. What I do know is, like I said, and I sound like a broken record, and I'm sorry, but like I said, it'll probably be Belair and Sasha Banks. That's probably pretty much a given at this point, unless they swerve us. So that's what I have to say about that.
Right. I don't see any other viable opponent for Sasha on the horizon besides Bianca Belair. You could do Naomi. That would be good too. And all of it. She now that she's back. So that's a potential, but I do think Bianca Belair will choose Sasha. I don't see her going for Asuka. And Asuka, I think after what they did with Alexa in the Rumble, people are upset, yes. But I do think that this paves the way for Rhea Ripley to go for Asuka. So that is the Women's Royal Rumble. Next match. We had the next match is the WWE title Last Man Standing match. Roman Reigns.
Universal.
Oh, Universal title match. Hey. You know, I may have watched it, but they did a botch during their match, so it's good. But we'll get to that. Universal title match, Reigns versus Owens. Holy crap. Whenever there's a no DQ match of any sort with Owens, you know, TLC, Hell in a Cell, Last Man Standing, whatever, you can usually bet a good amount that Kevin Owens is going through a table in some way, shape, or form. And sure enough, he did. The match quickly spilled out of the ring. They went up towards into the virtual audience up on the Trons there, and you had you didn't know you knew someone was gonna get thrown off. You didn't know who. Owens got thrown off by Reigns. Owens got up, went to sort of got in the back area. Looked like he was either trying to escape or trying to think of something. He's walking. He's back by the practice ring, and then all of a sudden, boom! Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere with a golf cart. You know, stealing a little bit from AEW, but I think WWE did it better, honestly.
Okay.
Hey, I prefer WWE to AEW. That's why I have you cover AEW. So, um, so we had that. Owens got up. Then Owens put Reigns on a table. He did a I forget what move it's called, off of the forklift, ascent on off the forklift onto Reigns on the table. They both got up, and then they got back towards the main ring, or not towards the main ring. They got out by the Tron again. It looked like, and then Reigns was getting Owens down. Reigns brought handcuffs via Paul Heyman, and it looked like he was going to try and handcuff Owens. Owens ended up getting Reigns caught in the handcuffs. Looked like Reigns was about to lose. Then Reigns pulled the ref and smashed him into the light fixture. So stopping the count from reaching 10. Paul Heyman comes over with the handcuffs. New ref starts counting. And then the botch. Paul Heyman couldn't get the handcuffs undone. So the ref stopped counting. And they moved the camera away from the ref onto Reigns and Heyman. Eventually, Heyman got the handcuffs off. Roman got KO in a guillotine choke and made him pass out to retain the title in a really, this match, if Owens already wasn't main event caliber, this showed he is main event caliber.
Yeah, everything was good. I thought the entire match was great. Yeah, going back to the card thing, yeah, I thought AEW maybe did it a little better. I mean, yeah, Kevin Owens literally went through the entire thing, but you know, we're not going to get into that. Anyways, that's just my opinion. But yeah, everything was cool. I think where Kevin Owens used the forklift and got on top and did the frog splash or the swanton bomb, was it? I really liked that spot. I thought the entire match was just good. It was a banger. That's what we thought it was to be. The thing is now, it's where does Roman go? Well, when we talk about the Rumble, we'll get more into it, but now that's the question. Where does Roman go? Where does Kevin Owens go? What do they do? That's a lot of questions that need answered on Friday, really.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, we don't know. Where do they go?
Especially with Owens will not be facing Roman for the title at WrestleMania. I think this is Owens' last match for the title for right now. So that's that. Again, the question is, who's it going to be? But let's get into the main event, the Men's Royal Rumble. And boy, howdy, was this one of the best Rumbles we have seen in a long time. A few people who were supposed to be in the match were not in the match. One being Keith Lee, most likely due to being in quarantine because his girlfriend Mia Yim has COVID. The other being Jey Uso. I've heard part of me heard that he was, or one thing I heard said that he was injured. Another thing just says he just hasn't been seen, and they don't know why they're keeping him off TV, even though he had already declared for the Rumble. So those are a couple spots that need to be filled. But it was a really good match. The first two entrants were Edge and Randy Orton, which was announced beforehand. I'm pretty like with Bianca Belair coming out number 3. I think a lot of the spot Edge coming out at 1, like he did, was because Edge really hammered home on Raw about needing to win the Rumble. Him coming out at 1 sort of seemed to stymie those hopes that Edge was going to win. Edge and Orton made their entrances. Orton didn't even get up the ramp before Edge just ran and just battered Orton on the entrance ramp, got them back in the ring. Match started. They went on the outside under the bottom rope, and they just kept blasting each other on the outside. Sami Zayn entered at number 3, which I thought was hilarious, having to deal with Edge and Orton. Then you have Mustafa Ali. And so all the heels started ganging up on Edge. You had Jeff Hardy coming out at number 5 to sort of even the odds, and Jeff Hardy ended up being first one eliminated by the next entrant being Dolph Ziggler. Shinsuke Nakamura came out after faced Shinsuke and went right after Sami Zayn, which I thought was cool. Then we had our first surprise entrant of the night being Carlito, which I don't think was a shock, but since he was rumored for Legends Night for Raw and didn't show, I think a lot of people thought he may show up in the Rumble, and he did, and he looked great.
But yeah, he was in a few TV shows and movies. I know he was in Netflix's Glow. I don't remember what else he played in. I think he played in like 1 or 2 other things. I can't remember. But yeah, after Legends Night, the rumor was, he wanted to do something. He wasn't just going to go to Raw, fly halfway across the country during a pandemic just to be on camera to do a cameo. That's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to do something. So I figured maybe because he was one of the rumor names that maybe he might not. We don't know. But it was good to see Carlito back. Hopefully this isn't a one-off, but I think it is. I would like to see him stick around. I don't know.
Actually, from what I've heard, he's going to be doing what MVP did. He's going to be, tonight, he'll be at Raw. He'll be trying out for a producer role backstage, which I think is good. I think you need some of these Ruthless Aggression era stars as producers, because they know what they're doing. You need some of the more recent guys who have retired as producers, because they know what to do in these times, I think. In all honesty. So Carlito as a producer, I think would be good. So good luck to Carlito tonight. After that, you had a few other entrants come out. Then number 14 from NXT was Damian Priest, who he came out and he looked fantastic. Miz came out right after, and Damian Priest eliminated Miz and Morrison. They were distracted by Bad Bunny because Miz went up and destroyed the DJ area for Bad Bunny during his entrance. So Bad Bunny came out, did a distraction. Then after Miz and Morrison were eliminated, Bad Bunny got up on the top rope and did a dive onto Miz and Morrison. It was okay. Like, I was like, all right. So then Matt Riddle was after that. He was looking really good. I think he really had a very strong showing. He lasted like over a half hour in the Rumble and lasted up until the final 6, I want to say. So Riddle did a really good job. Daniel Bryan, who was arguably a fan favorite for this match, came out next. He had no good showing. And after that, you had Kane return, which I think shocked everyone. You have a little Team Hell No reunion, which Kane then ruined by choke slamming Daniel Bryan. A few more entrances. Bobby Lashley came out and destroyed a lot of people pretty much. After that, you had the Hurricane come out as a big surprise entrant. He tried to do his spot from 2002, where he tried to choke slam Stone Cold and Triple H. This time he tried to do it on Bobby Lashley and Big E. Big mistake. Hurricane gets thrown up pretty quick. And then entrant 24, probably the biggest shock return of the night. I jumped out of my seat. Holy crap, Christian returns. And everyone's look in the ring said it all. Riddle was like, holy crap. Bobby Lashley's like, come on. And Edge's expression went from, because Edge is still in this match, having been in from number 1. Forgot to mention, shortly after Carlito came out, Edge did an execution on Orton on the announcer table, beat Orton's knee pretty hard to where Orton was taken out of the match, which they'll plan later. So on Edge's face, it went from, like desperation to pure joy at seeing Christian. So Christian Edge, clean house. Riddle tries to get in with them. Edge and Christian have none of it. And go after Riddle. AJ Styles comes out with his bodyguard Omos, and Omos really ticked a lot of people off because Omos eliminated Big E and Rey Mysterio from this match with not being in the match. Anytime someone tried to eliminate AJ, they toss him and Omos would catch AJ and put him back in the ring, making everyone mad. A few more entrances. Seth Rollins came out at 29 to surprise return. We had looked like there's going to be a slight reunion between Sheamus and Cesaro for the bar. Not to be. Cesaro gave Sheamus the big swing, saying, every man for himself. And if this year is not the year of Cesaro, I don't know what will be. Please, WWE, give Cesaro a push. Please. We're begging you. And then final entrant was Braun Strowman, who came in, cleaned house. He eventually eliminated AJ Styles by tossing him over the ropes and decided that Omos wasn't. Rollins eliminated Matt Riddle with a curb stomp on the ring apron. Beautiful move. Strowman, I believe, eliminated. Was it Strowman or Rollins that eliminated Daniel Bryan? It was Rollins. Which that really soured everyone's mood on Rollins because everyone was really hoping for Daniel Bryan to win. And then you had Final Four being Rollins, Strowman, Edge, and Christian. Final Four. Rollins tried to do a partnership with Braun. Braun was having none of it. Then you had Rollins and Christian and Strowman trying to eliminate each other and trying to eliminate Edge. Edge helped eliminate Strowman and Christian, and then Edge eliminated Rollins. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton, out of nowhere, RKO, is about to throw Edge out of the ring. Edge reverses it at the last second, tosses Orton out, because our hearts stopped when Orton did that RKO. Looked like he was about to win. Edge reversed it. Edge from number 1, lasting 58 minutes, 11 years to the day since his first surprise return at the 2010 Royal Rumble, winning that one. He wins his second Royal Rumble, going to the main event of WrestleMania to face either Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns. Holy crap, what a great Rumble, and boy, am I happy Edge won.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't mind Edge winning. Excuse me. I did read that he's supposed to have a big match, and he might face Roman or he might face Drew, so I kind of was getting a sense of, oh, okay, he might actually win. But then when they announced him at 1, I was, oh, okay, well, let's see if he can run the gauntlet. And he ran the gauntlet. I
don't think they'll do. I hope they stick with Drew or Reigns for Edge to face. I don't want them doing what they originally had planned, honestly, which was Orton as champion and Orton versus Edge for the title at WrestleMania. Let the Rumble be their final thing, basically.
It's WWE. You know that ain't going to happen.
True. I thought them starting at 1 and 2 was probably the best way to do that, was to get their feud sort of quote-unquote done. But I would not be surprised if Orton won the Chamber and beat McIntyre for the title. And then Edge versus Orton for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Do I want that? Absolutely not. But I would not be surprised. Edge versus Reigns, the Battle of the Spears. That would be interesting. Because with Reigns, I mean, the sentimental favorite for that one was Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. I think Reigns needs a big opponent that is big enough to take him on and beat him. Daniel is one of the best. I don't know if he can. I don't want to say I don't know if he can believably do it, because he beat Orton and Batista for the WWE title at WrestleMania 30 in the main event after he'd already beaten Triple H in the first match. So that would be a good match. I don't know right now on that one. Either way, I am so pumped for the possibilities. There was no Brock Lesnar, thank goodness, like everyone thought there was going to be. Everyone thought with the WWE title match being on first that Goldberg was going to appear in the Rumble and win it. Thank goodness that did not happen. There was rumors of Cena coming in and winning it. Cena is in Vancouver right now filming. I don't remember if it's a movie or a show.
It's a show.
He's already said he's out for WrestleMania, period. So no Cena. As much as I think we would have loved to have seen Reigns versus Cena, that match I would have loved. But we're not getting that. Either way, both Rumbles have me so pumped for WrestleMania. I mean, whew.
Yeah, both Rumbles were good. I don't know what's gonna happen. See, here's my thing on this whole Edge thing winning. He could go face Roman. It could be spear versus spear. But then if you don't give the belt to Orton and you don't want him to fight Edge with the WWE title on the line, I mean, that match really doesn't need it at WrestleMania. But if you go that route, then who faces Roman? Because Kevin Owens was just plugged in as pretty much a guy that they didn't have really no one else. So do you take Edge and put him on SmackDown to fight Roman? Do you
and who does Drew face? You know?
Yeah. Then it's like, okay, who does Drew face? So it's interesting to see where they go with it.
It makes more sense for Edge to challenge for the WWE title, because Reigns technically has Reigns' opponent is already decided from what I've heard. And it's probably going to be Daniel Bryan. Of the two, if you put Edge either place, the place where Reigns has an opponent either way. Drew, I think, needs to face Edge, because I don't think he has another believable opponent on the Raw roster to face right now. He beat AJ, he beat Orton, he beat Lashley.
But he didn't beat one guy.
Braun?
He did beat the Fiend. Look, I know I'm a Fiend fan, but he didn't beat him. Now, look, I don't know what's going to go on. I did see something about when Drew and Sheamus were talking, there was Bray's puppets following Drew around. So maybe they're going to go that route. Maybe they're not. I don't know. For WrestleMania, if you have Edge face Drew, then I would plug in Daniel Bryan to face Roman for the Universal title. Since he's was the sentimental favorite and he doesn't have much time left as a always on the road kind of guy. But if you have Edge face Roman, then that opens up the possibility of, okay, who are you going to plug in? Yes, you could have him fight the Fiend. Yes, you could have him fight Sheamus. You could build up someone and help make him fight Drew. But that's the possibilities. Or there's always that wild card of the Miz having the Money in the Bank briefcase. What could happen if they do a WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match? Everyone could be beat up like it was in New Year's Resolution 2006 when Edge was the first one to ever cash in and beat John Cena. You could have a case like that where the Miz cashes in and becomes champion and is champion going into WrestleMania. Will it happen? Probably not. I don't know.
They would need to build Miz up again. They need to build Miz back up as a viable superstar. I don't want to say him and Morrison haven't been good. They've been funny, but they've been jobbed out. And the money in the bank contract holder is usually jobbed out before they actually win it. Let's be honest. But I think if they want to make it believable, Miz needs to be built back up. I don't necessarily think. I'm on the fence about splitting him from Morrison and letting Morrison be his own thing again, which I think would be great. Down the line, I want to see Miz versus Morrison for the title again and have Morrison win it. But I think they do need to eventually split up.
I think they do. The prospect, though, is I think they're having Money in the Bank again in May. I'm not sure. That isn't official. Nothing's been announced. But I think it's in May again. So if you think about it now, The Miz only really has about 4 months to cash in.
Right.
So does he cash in on Raw after Mania? Does he cash in at WrestleMania? Does he cash in on one of these other 2 pay-per-views before WrestleMania? So
I don't think we'll see.
Please look out for.
I don't think we'll see Miz cash in at WrestleMania. I think Rollins is going to be the one and only guy to do that. I don't think it would go over well with Miz doing it. I really don't. So.
I don't know. Oh, and the one thing real quick that you said about Cesaro, yes, I do believe he needs a push. Yes, this should be his year. But from what I read this morning, unless it's not true or whatever, his contract is going to be up sometime shortly after WrestleMania. So if he does not re-sign, then we might not see him on TV much longer. But he does have a 90-day no compete clause. So if he chooses not to re-sign, we could see him in late summer be in AEW or Impact Wrestling or go back to Ring of Honor where he was with Cassius Ohno or Chris Hero as the Kings of Wrestling. If he doesn't resign, I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't heard anything else. But if he does resign, I think you would have to plug him in main event somewhere in the year because it's way over for him to be in that main event spot.
Here's what I would do. I would have Reigns versus Bryan. WrestleMania, Bryan win. Get his last title run in. Him lose it to Cesaro. Daniel Bryan isn't going to want to lose it to Roman Reigns or someone like that. He's going to want to lose it to someone who will be to build bigger stars. I could see Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro and Cesaro beating Daniel Bryan for the title. And then eventually Cesaro lose it to Big E once Big E's built up enough.
Now who loses the Shinsuke?
I'd be fine with that.
No, I do think Shinsuke needs a title run, though, but I don't know what's going to happen.
There's a lot of people that need a title run that haven't gotten a title run. Granted, I know some people aren't big fans of hot potatoing the title like it was in the Attitude Era. But I think, I
don't know.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not a fan of Universal title anyways. I want the big gold belt back. I mean, there was...
You mean the one that David Arquette won? Yeah, that one?
Shush. I mean, everyone sort of thought maybe they might bring the big gold belt back with Edge saying he's going to go for the title he never lost, which wasn't the WWE or Universal title. It was the World Heavyweight title. I don't think that they would reactivate the belt just for him. I think there would need to be a reason to reactivate that title. But
yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. This all is now just a wait and see game. What's going to happen on Raw that could potentially lead to WrestleMania or the Elimination Chamber or even Fastlane? What's going to happen Friday night? That's what we don't know. That's why the Rumble is such a fun thing to watch. Because, yes, you get winners, you get your results, but then the aftermath, what's going to happen over the next few months? We don't know. Usually, a champion does not lose their championship a pay-per-view or two pay-per-views before WrestleMania. It usually doesn't happen. It does happen, but it's sort of rare.
2010, if you remember, well, and 2009 and 2010 were the years that it happened. Well, and 2017 as well. But 2009, both champions lost theirs. Edge lost his to Triple H in the Chamber. Then Cena lost his in the Chamber to Edge. 2010, Sheamus lost it in the Chamber to Cena, who then right then and there lost it to Batista, cashing in his I'm Batista card. And then in the main event, you had Undertaker losing it to Chris Jericho via Shawn Michaels shenanigans. And then 2017 Rumble, you had Cena losing it to Bray Wyatt. So it can happen. And then the champion can go on to lose at Mania. Rare, yes, but happens, yes.
You mean Bray lost it, or Bray won it from Cena at the Elimination Chamber? You said the Rumble. It was the Elimination Chamber.
Cena won it from AJ at the Rumble.
Yes, and then like 2 weeks later, he flip-flopped and Bray won.
Then lost it to Orton at Mania.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot that could happen. A lot of good potential matches. WrestleMania is 2 nights again this year. So, a lot of good matches I think we're going to see. I think we'll probably see all titles defended. I want to see the NXT. I want to see the NXT Women's. I want to see the NXT Championship defended at WrestleMania. Because they're not doing a takeover. Before WrestleMania, takeover is 2 weeks from now, I believe.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks last night. It's on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so
it could be NXT Takeover St. Valentine's Day Massacre since it's on Valentine's Day. That was what I heard, but nothing has been official, obviously. So
yeah, so that'll be good. I think that'll be NXT's big thing, and then I think we will have at least a couple NXT matches at WrestleMania. I hope. But we've been talking for a while. Royal Rumble was awesome. What would your letter grade be?
If I had to give it a grade, I would say it's a B. I can't necessarily give it an A. It was a solid show. It was a good show to kick it off. There's definitely some room for improvement because there always is. But I have to give it at least a solid B. You have to blow my mind to make it an A. Yes, there were some surprises. Yes, there were some good things, but I can give it an A. I got to give it a B.
I think the Rumble matches and the Rumble matches, the last man standing match minus the botch, and the quickness and Drew actually winning the WWE title match, I think are enough to give it an A for me. In all honesty. So that's where I stand. And that's our review for Royal Rumble. And tonight is Monday Night Raw. Or Daddy, I am pumped.
Yeah, I'm ready to roll. It's game time.
Yeah. So, with that, Talley, we want to give our social media handles.
JoshMania 2019 on the Twitter handles. That is me and Josh. Catholic Josh 122. That is Josh. I don't know your other one. I know you have another one.
Don't worry about that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. TJ Talley 25 on the Twitter handles. That is EY, not just a Y like the tally mark in math class. It is EY, like Eric Young. But TJ Talley 25 on the Twitter handles. Yeah. So Josh,
JoshMania on Facebook. And please like this video, comment your what you thought of a Rumble. Please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video, help us get the word out. So thank you guys for watching, and God bless.